A tutorial by Learn Fast Studios.
So let me start with what is an array. So can someone tell me what is an array? We have already covered this topic in the unit 1.
Group of elements of same data type.
Excellent, very good. A group of elements which are of the same data type is called as an array. The reason for that, because suppose if we want to store 10 elements, you require to have 10 different variable names. This will increase the namespace. For example, if you want to name 10 different variable names, then it can be A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Likewise, you need to give different variable names. Suppose if you want to hold 1000 variables, then you need to look for some 1000 variable namespace. Instead of that, if all these variables are of the same data type, instead of wasting the namespace, we can use only one single variable to hold all these different types of the values, to handle all these different types of the values. So arrays will facilitate to reduce the namespace. Array is a collection of similar data elements. Array is a collection of similar data elements. So before we are going to use that array, let us see what is the syntax, how to declare these arrays, and then what are the various types of these arrays. So this is my agenda for today's concept, and based on this, we will be doing some sort of an assignment at the end of the class. So let me tell you the next one. First one, syntax for declaring array in Java. So how to declare? The syntax is data type space variable name square brackets equal to new data type. Here we'll be mentioning the size. So this type of the declaration is a declaration for one-dimensional variable declaration, one-dimensional array declaration, one-dimensional array. One-dimensional array is widely used to store a list of elements, when we are having, suppose 10 subject marks or 60 student heights or 1000 student names. All these data will be are of the similar data type, and they are more than one value. Then we will be using this one-dimensional array. Now let us start working with one-dimensional array, explore all the operations with one-dimensional array. Then let us go for the two-dimensional array and then further multi-dimensional arrays. Okay. So this is the agenda. By looking at this particular data type, can someone tell me any example? For example, I want to hold 6 subject marks. Can you tell me how to write down the declaration for these 6 subject marks? Subject marks can be of which data type? Preferably, it will be
Integer.
So I'll be taking, for the sake of the data type, I'm taking it as an integer, and the name of the array is subject marks, right? So I can use the subject underscore marks. Most of you are making this mistake in your examination. This is one of my observation, right? So while you are creating any variable, you are not supposed to give any spaces or any special symbol. The only one special symbol which is allowed is a underscore. And then now I'll mention this square brackets, which resembles that submarks is not a single variable which can hold multiple elements, which can hold multiple elements. To resemble that, I am going to use these square brackets. Suppose if you don't give that, then it will resemble only one single variable. Am I clear? Suppose if you give int sub underscore marks semicolon, that means it can hold only one single value. But now I want to handle 6 subject marks. So to represent that, to denote that, I'll be using this square bracket. For this subject marks. What is the data type of this subject marks? Int. So hence I'll be mentioning like int. And then how many elements should I store here? My intention is to store how many subject marks? 6. Hence I will be mentioning like this. Now, can someone tell me how to store percentages of 100 students? Can you tell me how to declare this variable? How to declare this array? Percentage of 100 students. Percentage of 100 students.
So we can take float.
Excellent. Float space
Let's take percentage.
percentage.
Bracket.
Excellent. Brackets equal to
New space.
new
Float.
float. Excellent.
Bracket 100.
100. Excellent. Very good. Suppose if I want to store temperatures in a weekday. Temperatures in a weekdays. Temperatures in a weekdays. How to declare that array? Temperatures of a weekdays.
Again, we can take float.
Excellent. Float, because temperature is of the type floating type. So float
Temperature. Let's take
temperature
bracket equals to
brackets square brackets equal to
new space float
new float. Excellent.
under bracket 7. We can take 7.
7. Excellent. Very good. Since we are going to store temperatures of 7 days. Suppose if you want to analyze humidity in a particular place for 30 days. Humidity in a particular place for 30 days. How to declare? Float. Excellent.
Humidity,
Square brackets
equals new float,
equal new float
30, square brackets 30.
Great. So this is how we'll be declaring the elements as an array, right? So when you want to store more than one element, then you need to go for arrays. More than one element can be stored using the arrays. That is the one thing. Second one, all the elements should be of the same data type. So this is the typical one. So let us first do one program for handling temperatures in a place for 7 days. Okay, so how to write down? What is my program name? Array ex1. So class what should be the class name? What should be my class name? Class space
array x1 arr
array arr
example
x1. Very good. So some of you are doing the mistake while you are writing here. Some of you are keeping semicolon, some of you are keeping some parenthesis, which is a wrong notation. I have observed that in your examination, which is a wrong notation. Please make a note of that. Then I need to use public static void main string AR. And then there is no semicolon after public static void main. This is also one more common mistake. And then most of you are not using this opening bracket and then closing bracket. And then some of you are also using writing the string all in small letters, right? So these are the some of the common mistakes that I observed in your examination. Please make a note of that and then please make it corrected before the next examination. And one more important scenario, always don't use class name as a main, right? It is not preferred. Always use some meaningful class name, so which resembles the purpose of this program. Okay, this is only recommendation. Even you give the main, but not in the small letters. Even you give the main as a class name, that will work, but it is not recommended. Okay, so these are the some of the things that you have to keep in the mind. Okay, now my application is going to handle temperatures in a week in a particular place for 7 days, right? So what should be the declaration? Can someone help me? What is the syntax? Data type, space, variable name, square brackets, equal to new data type, size. This is the syntax. Okay. Now, tell me, basing on this, I want to hold temperatures in a particular place for 7 days. Can you tell me how to write down that example?
Float temperature.
Float temperature, excellent. Float temperature,
Square bracket equal to new float 7.
excellent. Square brackets, new float of 7. So float temperature, square brackets, equal to new float of 7. That is great thing. And then one more thing, sometimes if you want to give these square brackets, you can also give this prior to this temperature. That notation is also fine. Let us see that in our next example. For the timing, this is one way how you can declare a variable. Okay, after this declaration, now our next task is to read the elements into this location. Now, how many elements are held by this temp variable? Can someone tell me how many elements are referred by using this temp?
7.
7. So that means temp is not a individual variable which has only one value. Now temperature is a reference to 7 different elements. If you want to refer to the first element in the temperature reference, then you need to use a concept called as an index. Okay, index is the reference to point to any element in an array. Okay, is that clear? We'll be using the index. We'll be using the index to refer to the that is going to give the reference to point any element in an array, right? And one more important point that has to be remembered: index is always an integer. Okay, and one more important point is index always starts with 0 and ends n minus 1. Okay, it will start with 0 and ends at n minus 1. And then one more important point, ith element in an array can be referred by variable name of I minus 1 index. Is that clear? These are the 4 important points, right? The first one is index is a reference to point any element in an array. And then second point is index is always an integer value, which starts at 0 and ends at n minus 1. Here, n is nothing but n is the size of an array. N is the size of an array. And then ith element in an array can be represented or referred by I minus 1. Now, by taking this example, temp float of 7, what is the size of this temp array?
7.
7. So the index will start at 0 and ends at
6.
6. Okay. First element will be stored at which location?
0.
0.
Temp of 0. Temp of 0. Second element?
Temp of 1.
1.
Third element?
Temp of 2.
Ith element?
Temp of I minus 1.
Minus 1.
So that is how it will access. And one more very, very important point. If we try to access any index out of range is nothing but 0 to n minus 1, size minus 1, right? Then Java raises an exception. Okay, please remember this. This is very, very important point when we are trying to access any element out of the range, right? So what is the out of the range? Suppose what is the allowed range? Temp of 0 to temp of 0 to
6.
temp of 6 is the allowed range. Suppose I am trying to access temp of 8. 8 is within the range?
No.
No, hence it will raise an exception. So please keep these things in your mind. Okay, now let us try to read how to read any variable in an array, how to read any how to read any integer variable. Can you tell me how to read any integer value? We are supposed to create one scanner object, right? Scanner SC equal to new scanner of system.in. Suppose if I'm having a variable int a, how do I read that integer value? A equal to
SC dot next int.
SC dot next int. But here temp is referencing to how many elements? 7 elements. It is not comprised of only one single element. So suppose if I want to read the first element, what should I do now? First element is stored in which location? First element is stored in which location?
Temp of 0.
So now what I am going to do, I am writing temp of 0 equal to sc dot next int. So which is going to read the element into the first location. Suppose if you want to read the second element, what should be the code?
Temp of 1.
Temp of 1 equal to
SC dot next into.
sc dot next int. But here, is it an integer value or float value? Temperature. So hence we need to change this to
Text float.
float. float. Next float. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now suppose if I want to read third day temperature, how to read that? How to read third day temperature?
Temp of 2 equals to SC dot
Temp
next float.
of 2 equal to SC dot next float. Okay, very good. Now, do you observe one thing? All this text is same except only one single element. What is that?
Index.
Index. And then where this index is getting started?
0.
0. And then where it is going to end?
6.
I minus 1.
5, right? So what I'm going to do, when you are having the repeated similar kind of the statement, instead of writing multiple lines of the code, I can replace this code with one loop statement. So I'm going to use some for loop int I equal to where it has to be started
0.
0, and then where it has to end.
N minus.
N minus.
How to know how many elements can be stored in that? By using a particular variable, by using a particular property called as a length property. So what is the variable name? Temp dot length, which will return the maximum elements that can be stored. Temp dot length returns 6. Temp dot length returns 6. Now, every time, what is the difference between this one and then this one? What is the difference between these two indexes?
I
1
1. What is the difference between 1 and 2?
again 1.
1 itself. So that is why I am using I++. Okay. And then I am writing this for loop like this. Am I clear? I am removing, right. So instead of writing 6 different statements, I'll be replacing all these 6 different statements with one single loop, which is going to read temperature for 6 times. But now if I use the same kind of the statement here, it will read first temperature for 6 times. First temperature for 6 times. But I want to read 7 days temperatures, right? I want to read 7 days temperature. First time I need to read the first day temperature. Second time, second day temperature. So then I need to replace, instead of 0, I need to replace that with
I.
I. Excellent. Very good. Very good. More than expected. Okay. So this is how, what I'm going to do here. What is the temp dot length? What is the temp dot length? It is size 7. What is the temp dot length?
Size.
7. Okay. Now what is percentage dot length? What will be the value which is written percentage dot length?
100s.
100. What is sub underscore marks dot length?
6.
So length variable returns what? What is, how many number of elements? How many number of elements can be presented in that array? So it will reflect that. Is it clear? Is it clear? Yes or no?
Sir, repeat again.
Length variable will return how many maximum number of elements that can be stored in that particular array, right? So for example, how many maximum number of elements that can be stored in temperature dot length. So which will return, what is the value that it will return?
7.
7. That means the maximum 7 elements can be stored in the temperature value variable. Okay. How many elements can be stored in humidity?
30.
How to know that? Humidity dot,
Humidity dot length.
which will return the maximum size. What is the maximum size?
30.
30. And can you tell me what will be AR dot length? What will be AR dot length? By your observation, you just tell me what will be AR dot length. What it will return? AR dot length will return
Maximum capacity of the argument.
maximum number of elements that are stored in AR. Maximum elements that are stored in, maximum number of elements which are stored in AR array. Okay. How to know what are the maximum number of elements stored in percentage?
Percentage dot length.
Okay. Now tell me how to know what are the maximum number of elements present in AR.
AR dot length.
AR dot length.
Do you understand now? So AR is a string array. If you are using AR dot length, it will return how many number of elements, a maximum number of elements present in the AR variable. Okay. Now this is how we can read the elements. Okay. After reading the elements, we have to display the elements. Can you tell me how to display first element? How to display the first element?
System dot out.
System dot out dot print ln
Temp of 0.
temp of 0. Okay. Suppose if I want to print the second element,
System dot out temp of 1.
okay. Next, same. I want to print a third and fourth.
Temp of 2 and temp of 3.
Okay. Suppose if I want to read 4 and then 5. Sorry, 5 and 6. Suppose if I want to read 7th day. If I want to display 7th day temperature. Isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is how it. So how many lines of the code I need to write here? To display all the elements in the array, how many lines of the code do I need to write?
7.
7. Instead of that, can we simplify this code? How can we simplify this code?
For loop.
Simply,
For loop.
you write down the loop. So I'll be writing for int I equal to 0. Now tell me, until when I need to repeat I less than?
Temp dot length.
Temp dot length I plus plus. Okay. Isn't it? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So I'll be writing only one statement, but I'll be writing in the loop. So that is how looping statement or iterative statements will simplify the task. Now, suppose by using this loop, what will happen? Can someone tell me? Suppose if I write down the code like this, what will happen?
6 times it will print first in maximum.
Excellent, very good. But I want to print 7 different elements. First time I want to, instead of temp of 0, I need to replace
Temp
it
of
with
5.
temp of 5. That's it. Very good. So this is the code logic, how to read a temperature how to declare a temperature variable, and then read the values into that temperature array, and then display the value of this temperature. Is that clear? Any doubts, any questions till now? Do you understand how to create an array, how to read the elements into an array, how to display the elements into an array? Any doubts?
No, sir.
Okay, since this scanner is a class which is not defined in this program, I need to import that statement. How to import? Import java dot util dot scanner. So a lot of you are doing mistake. You are writing here, keeping some parentheses and then writing system dot in here. And then some of you are not giving the semicolon here. So these are the common mistakes that you are doing in your examination. Please mark these mistakes and then try to correct them in the coming examinations. Okay, that's it. And shall we compile this code? How to compile the code?
Java C.
Java C arr ex1.java. And then how to execute? How to execute? Java space arr ex1. Excellent. So now it is asking me to enter how many temperatures? 7 temperatures. So let me give 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. How many temperatures did I give? 7 temperatures. Isn't it? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is how. But the problem is that it is not showing us any display message. Why? It is
We
only
didn't
reading
put
the
any display message.
Excellent, very good. So if you want the display message, simply write down system dot out dot println, enter, enter plus here I plus 1 plus day temperature. Okay. Why I write down like this? Here, what I am writing, enter I. For example, initially it starts at 0, right? 0 plus 1, it will become like 0 plus 1, it will become like 0 plus 1.
First day temperature.
First day temperature. Second time it will return. I will become as an 1. Now 1 plus 1.
2.
So it will display like enter second day temperature. Suppose if you 6th day, I value is 6, then 6 plus 1.
7.
So likewise it will display. So now let us again compile, since every time you make any change in your source code, if you don't compile the code, you will be getting the earlier output itself. But now we want the modified output. Okay. What is the mistake? Can you read out what is the mistake?
Semicolon.
So by the code, you have to understand in arr ex1.java program at line number 50, it is expected to have a semicolon. Let us go to that program. See, this is your line number 50, and then here you keep the semicolon. So Java, suppose if it is giving the lengthy output, it is giving extra information for the user. So what is missing? Okay. So don't feel bad to see lengthy error report. Okay. So if it is giving the lengthy error report means it is giving more information to you. Where are the mistakes? Am I clear?
Sir,
Okay. So now let us compile the code and execute Java space ARR EX1. See now, earlier it is not showing any text. Now it is showing enter first day temperature. So now let me give 34, 32, 23, 42, 54, 65, 87. Am I clear? Is it reading all the 7 days or not? So now it is also printing all these 7 days in the same order. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Now let us add a new functionality to this program. Okay, so this is, I don't want to display all the 7 days temperatures. So which lines of the code I need to remove? I don't want to display temperatures. I don't want to display all the 7 days temperatures. Then which line numbers I need to remove or keep
55.
them in common? Yes, 55 to
58.
58.
58. Very good. So I'm just removing this. What it is going to do, it is only, this program is going to read only the temperatures, but it is not doing anything else. Now, what is my intention? I want to read the day number, and then I want to display only the temperature on that particular day. Temperature only on that particular day. Okay, so that is my intention. Do you understand what is my intention? My intention is after reading all the 7 days temperature, suppose if I enter 4, it has to display only 4th day temperature. Okay. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
So now what I have to do, I need to declare enter search day equal to, now I am going to declare one variable. Now system dot out dot println enter day number. Okay, how to read that day number? How to read that day number?
SC dot next int.
Next int. Okay, to which variable I need to store?
Search day.
Search day. So search day equal to search day equal to
SC dot next int.
sc dot next int. So what it will do, after reading all the 7 days temperature, it will read which day you want to print. Okay. Now the corresponding day I have to print, isn't it? Suppose you enter 4. Which temperature you need to print? Temp of
Thursday -1.
so shall I write down system dot out dot println temperature on on plus search day plus is Now, which value I need to print? Temp of
Search day -1.
search day -1. Why search day -1? Why it has to be search day -1?
Range is less than
No. You need to remember this sentence.
Index starts.
Ith element in an array can be referred by using variable name of I-1. So since search day you want to get, so search day -1. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Shall we display that? Shall we check whether our code is working or not? Java C. And then Java 10, 20, 30, 40, 59, 61, 73. Okay. Now tell me which day's temperature you want to read. Any guess? I mean, anything 6. What should be the return value? What is the 6th day temperature?
61.
61.
Got it? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Are you- So that is how we will perform searching. Okay, let us write down, let us execute one more time. Okay, now let me give 10, 20, 30, 40, something. Okay, now let me give 8 or 10. How many elements present in my array?
7.
7
10.
elements. Now, where it will search? Suppose if I give 10, where it will search?
Index 9.
Index -1. That is temp of.
9.
Do we have temp of 9 in this array?
No.
No.
No,
So
sir.
this may cause some security threats. Okay, if it is not properly verifying the boundaries of an array, so then there may be the possibility of vulnerabilities. So that is why Java does not allow to access the elements out of the boundaries. So let us check what will happen. So what it is saying? Exception. Please read out exception.
Thread main
Main.
java.array index out of bounds exception.
That is the exception name. And then what it is giving? Index.
9.
Index 9.
Index
What
9
you are
out of
referring
bounds for
is
length 7.
out of bounds for length 7. So since the length is 7, but it is displaying, I mean, you are seeking an element at the 9th index. And then where is that error kept? Error kept at location? Which line? Line number. What is the line number?
66.
So now you can directly go here, 66th line, you are trying to print that. Isn't it yes or no? Do you understand how to read error message and then how to correct that? Any doubts, any questions? Any doubts, any questions? Till here?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. Okay. Now my next task is I want to find out sum of all the temperatures and display. How to do that? Can someone tell me? Sum of all the temperatures and display that. What should I do now? So let me declare float sum equal to 0. Now what I have to do? Sum equal to sum equal to
Sum plus temp of
sum plus temp of
index.
0, right? Isn't it? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
This can also be written like, what is the shorthand notation for this? Sum plus
Plus
equal to
equals
temp of 0. So
0.
this is a shorthand notation. What is that? Shorthand assignment operator. So what it will do, wherever you have the similar kind of the left side variable on the right side part, you can reduce that and then you can rewrite in this way. Okay, so please remember this carefully. Okay, now what should be the next line? We are adding the temperature of 0. Now next, what should I do now?
Sum plus equals temp of 1.
Excellent. Similarly, you need to write down for how many times?
Totally 7 times.
So instead of that, can we reduce the length of the code?
Yes, sir.
How we can reduce the length of the code when you are having the repeated statements? By using
For loop.
loop. How many different looping statements are available in Java? 2 different types, for and then while, right? Now, always for the array kind of the scenarios where you have the counter control logic, you always prefer to use for loop. Okay, now how to replace the code? I want to remove this, simply use for, now tell me,
Int I equals 0.
int I equal to 0,
I less than or equals to
less than, I less than, I less than,
te- I less than or equals to temp dot length.
not equal to, I less than temp dot length, because what will be the value in the temp dot length? The size value, right?
Yes, sir. Okay.
Suppose if you say I equal to temp dot length, even 7 will also come, but 7 is the range. 7 is in the range of index.
No.
No, hence it will raise an exception. So it has to be less than temp dot temp dot. It has to be less than temp dot
Length.
length. Excellent, very good. And then I,
Double plus.
yes, which is an increment operator. Do you remember? And can you identify, how many of you can identify whether it is an pre-increment or post-increment?
Post increment.
Excellent. How you can decide that it is a post-increment operator?
The operator is after the variable.
Very good. So I can write down like this. After this, what I'm going to do here, can you observe one thing? I didn't kept any brackets here. Do you observe that?
Yes, sir.
So when you are having only one statement for the repetition, there is no compulsion for you to include them in brackets. When you are having more than one statement to be repeated in the for loop, then only you are expected to give within the braces, and then which is going to all these braces will make all these 10 statements or whatever the number of the statements that you want to repeat considered to be as in one single statement. So that is the secret. After this, I am going to write down sum. How to display the sum? How to display
System
sum?
dot out.
System dot out dot println the total temperature is plus plus
Sum.
sum. Excellent. Very good. Am I clear? Any doubts? Any questions? Any doubts? Any questions? What is this code logic from 69 to 74? 69 to 74.
Calculating sum and display.
Calculating the sum of an array elements, isn't it? Calculating the sum of an array elements, isn't it? Do you observe that? But there is one mistake in this code. Can someone identify the line number where you have that mistake?
71.
71, excellent. What is the mistake?
Temp of
Instead of temp of
Temp
0,
of
I am
0, temp
supposed
of
to
5.
write down temp of 5. Okay. So one small question. Suppose you want to calculate the sum of all the humidities. Sum of all the humidities. So can you tell me what should be the code change? Sum of all humidities. What should be the code change? Sum
Instead
of
of
all
temp, humidity.
instead of temp,
Humidity will write.
just replace with humidity. Please tell all the code from 69 line number.
Then float sum equals to 0.
Is there
Sorry.
any need for change in that
Ah.
line of the code?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. In 70th
Which
line.
code? No,
At
no.
the top, sir,
In
at the top.
69. In 69, do you need to make any change?
No.
No.
No, sir. No, sir.
In 70,
Yes, sir.
what is that change?
That I less than temp dot length, we will replace
Instead of
with
temp dot length, now we need to replace that with
humidity dot length.
excellent, very good. And then sum plus equal to
Humidity
Humidity of I.
of I.
very good. For example, I want to calculate the sum of all subject marks. Then sum of all subject marks. 6 subject marks, sum of all subject marks. Then what should be the change? What should be the code change?
Sir, we will replace temp part, temp.
Float, is it float sum or
Ah.
integer sum?
Submark.
Submarks. Do you want to check what is the submarks? This is the declaration for submarks.
Integer. Sir. So,
integer.
Okay, now tell me what should be the code change?
yes, int sum equals to 0 will write.
Int sum equal to 0, we will write after that.
After that, the I less than some sub marks dot length.
Sub underscore marks dot length. And then,
Sum plus equals to sub underscore marks of I.
okay, suppose if I want to print fifth subject marks, how to print? Which line of the code has to be changed? Which line of the code has fifth subject marks? I want to read which subject marks, and then according to that subject marks, I have to print the corresponding subject marks. How to display that?
So line number 66.
Line number 60, you need to change instead of such day subject number, right?
Okay.
Into subject number. After that,
Enter subject number, sir, 62.
62, enter subject number. After that,
64.
64. What is that change?
Sir, subject
Subject numbers
Equal to SC dot
next int.
next int. After that,
66. Subject
hmm, subject marks in
sir, subject
subject number is plus is
sub underscore marks of subject
sub underscore mark of.
sir, it's
Number
plus
minus
1.
Excellent, very good. Do you understand
Yes, sir.
where we need to make the changes? Okay. Now, I just would like to print the average of this particular temperature. How can I do that? Average of the temperatures. Average of the temperatures.
average is equals to sum by I.
What should be the data type of average?
Float.
Float average equal to
0.
0. Okay. And then
Float average equals to sum by temp
sum by
Temp dot length.
temp dot length.
excellent. That is great thing. Temp dot length. Excellent. So this is how I can calculate the average. How to display the average? Can you help me out?
System.
System dot out dot println.
System dot out dot println. Println
Average is
Average temperature is
temperature is plus.
plus average.
average AVG.
Very good. Do you understand why we are using this plus? Plus is for concatenation. So we are having one string, we are concatenating that with some average value. Okay. So whenever we want to concatenate, then we can make use of this plus symbol. Is that clear? Shall we execute this code and check what will happen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So Java C. Then Java. Now tell me 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. Okay, now it is asking me to enter the day number. Just tell me any day number.
5.
5. Okay, what should be the output?
50.
Okay, after that we got this 50 or not?
Yes, sir.
And then are we able to get the total temperature?
Yes, sir.
Are we able to get the average temperature?
Yes,
Yes
sir.
or no? Okay. Now what we are doing is every time we are reading the elements, right? So which line numbers are responsible for reading the elements? What are the line numbers which are responsible for reading the elements?
50.
51.
51. Yes.
51 is responsible, but starting from which line number?
46.
46 to 52 we can remove, right? If we remove, there won't be any reading, isn't it? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. One second. Sorry. Where am I? Okay. This is my code, and here I need to compile the code. Okay. So shall I keep them in comments? Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now what I'm doing, instead of reading every time, because I need to give 7 temperatures every time, isn't it? Yes or no? For performing all the calculation, every time it is asking me to enter 7 temperatures, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
But I don't want to give the temperatures like that. In that case, what I can do, I can initialize the temperatures. How can I directly initialize the temperatures? Equal to, here you give the temperature first one, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and then 70. How many values are there? How many values are there?
7 values.
7 values. Automatically it will initialize with 7 different values. Am I clear? Any doubts, any questions? Shall we run this code?
Yes,
Shall we
sir.
run this code? So what is this part? What is this part? This is going to, this line of the code is going to
Initialize
Init-
values into temperature array.
initialize an array elements. So what will be the temp of 0?
10.
10,
What would be temp of 6?
70,
What would be temp dot length?
7.
Do you understand? Now let us compile the code. Java C. See here it is asking, okay, why you got this error? Can someone tell me why you got that error?
We didn't
Because
create
we
an
don't have
enter
a
type.
scanner element.
Excellent. You also make the scanner into the comment, right? So that is the reason, right? What we have to do, we need to remove that from the comments and then make it over here and then compile. How to compile the code? Again, compile. Okay. Shall we run the code? How to run?
Yes, sir.
Java space.
ARREX.
What it is going to do now, tell me. Before we execute, can you tell me, can you simplify this code? What we are doing?
It initializes array with all the 7 elements.
We are creating one array of temperature, which is a floating point array, and then with the length 7 elements, and then it is initializing with these 7 different values. After that, we are reading the search day, and then it will display the corresponding temperature on that particular day. After that, we are going to display the sum of all the array. After that, we are printing average, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now let us run this code. See, now it is not asking us to enter all the 7 days 7 days temperature, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Now tell me which day temperature you want to check.
4th,
4th day. What is the temperature on 4th day?
40,
40. And then what is the total? 280. What is the average? 40, right? Any doubts, any questions till now?
No, sir.
Okay, so now what shall we do? We want to figure out what is the maximum element and then minimum element in this array. What is the maximum element and then minimum element in this array? How can we figure out what is the maximum and then what is the minimum? How to figure out what is the maximum temperature, what is the minimum temperature in this way? Just tell me. What is the maximum and then what is the minimum? How to write down the max, how to find out what is the maximum element and then what is the minimum element. So normally what you will be doing, initially you will be considering max equal to float max equal to some minus 10. Okay. So now what you will be doing? What you will be doing?
Taking the whole elements in the array.
First, you will be verifying max with first element, right? Isn't it? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
If max is greater than, where is the first temperature?
Temp of zeros.
Temp of 0.
Temp of 0. Then what you have to do? You need to update the maximum, right? Yes or no?
Max
Yes.
equals temp of 0.
Max equal to temp of 0. Next, again, what you have to do? This is for first temperature. Similarly, you have to do for
first element.
Other indexes also.
isn't it yes or no? How many times you need to write down? Suppose if you are having 7, how many if statements? How many times you need to do the comparison?
7 times.
Instead of that, how can we reduce the code?
For loop.
Excellent. So that is how we'll be writing. So for, tell me in
I equals 0.
I equal to 0,
I less than temp of
I less than temp
dot
is dot
length
length
I double plus.
I double plus. And then here you need, since you are having more than one, and here also, since you have only one element, you don't require
Brackets.
braces. Okay. Now, do you figure out any mistake in this code?
Max equals temp of 0 must
It
have
is not max equal to temp of 0. It is max equal to temp of
I.
I. Okay. And then after this?
Max equals temp of.
Okay. Similarly, can you tell me how to figure out what is the minimum?
Sir, semicolon at the end.
Yes. Very good. How to figure out what is the minimum? What should be the code for the
Float
minimum?
minimum equals
Comma minimum equal to some 1,000 or 10,000. Now what you are supposed to do?
if minimum
If min
less than temp of
less
I.
than temp of I,
Min equals temp of I.
min equal to temp of I. Isn't it? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So after this, we want to display. How to display?
System dot
System dot out dot println.
minimum temperature
Maximum temperature is plus
plus max
max and then
minimum temperature is min.
Got it? Any doubts? Any questions?
No, sir.
Okay, shall we run the code? What will be the output? What will be the output?
10,70.
First, it will ask us to enter the day number. Okay. Now tell me any corresponding day.
7.
7. Okay. Then it will display. What will be the output?
70.
70. Temperature on 7 is 70. After that,
Total temperature
total temperature is
280.
280. And then
Average
average
40.
40. And then
Maximum 10.
maximum
70.
70. And then,
Minimum 10.
okay. What happened? What is the problem? There is one small mistake. Just check. Here, it is not max greater than temperature. If the max is less than temperature. And then here, min should be greater than temp of 5. Let us run the code once again. I'll be getting the same output. Now, compile again. And then run. Now, let me give value same 7. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Any doubts, any questions? In this 10 minutes time, that means up to 3:30. In this 10 minutes time, whatever application that you want to choose that application and then post the corresponding one-dimensional array, declaration, initialization, and then write down how to figure out the searching, maximum, minimum, average, sum. Okay? So can you tell me how to start this code?
Writing class array.
Class arr ex2, then public static void main string ar. Now, since we already learned about arrays, one-dimensional arrays, let us try to handle the command line arguments first. See, this is AR. Isn't it yes or no?
Yes, sir.
AR is a which array?
One-dimensional string.
One-dimensional array, and then data type is
String.
string. So now suppose if I want to print all the elements in AR, then what should I do now? All the elements in AR. What should I do now?
We'll use one loop till
Yes.
from
How
0
to write down? For
int I equals to 0.
int I equal to 0.
I less than AR dot length.
AR dot length. Then
I plus
I plus plus. Then
system dot out dot print. AR of I.
system dot out dot print ln AR of I. Right? Okay. So now shall we execute this code? Java C ARR ex2 dot Java, and then Java space ARR ex2. Now let us give some command line arguments, right? As a first argument, let us give 10 space 20 space 30 space 40 space 50 space hello space hi space from 7.5. So totally how many elements I am passing as an argument?
8.
1, 2, 3,
Eight.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Now what will be the output?
10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Hello.
It has to display like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Hello, hi, 7.5. Am I clear?
Yes.
Okay. So, but 10 is of which data type here? 10 is of which data type? 10 is stored in which location?
Okay. Location
10 is stored in which location?
0.
first
AR of 0. And AR is of which type?
strings.
String.
String. Hence, 10 will be stored in which format?
String format.
String
Do you understand? Right? We are reading all the contents in which format? String format. Isn't it? Yes or no? Okay, suppose I want to pass two elements. Okay, so first element will be stored in which location?
0.
I want to pass zero location. Zero location of what?
AR of 0.
Okay, so let me take int a equal to AR of 0. Can I store this one in A?
Yes.
Are you sure?
No.
AR of 0 is of which data type?
String.
String. And then we want to convert that string into which type?
Integer.
So then we need to use which? Integer
Wrapper class.
dot parse
Int.
int of AR of 0. Now, suppose you want to read the second element to B. How to do that?
Int B equals
Int B equal
integer. Capital N.
integer dot
Dot percent
percent of
AR of 1.
AR of 1. Okay. Okay. Now I just would like to find out what is the sum of these two. Sum of these two. How to know that?
Will simply print for a plus b.
Int sum equals A plus B.
System dot out dot println A plus B. Right? Isn't it yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Shall we run this code? Compile. Integer spelling mistake, right? And then run. Okay, while running, how many arguments you are giving? It is expected.
8.
How many arguments it is expecting?
Okay, 2.
2. So I am giving 10 and then 35. What will be the output?
45.
It has to be 45. You got it or not?
Yes.
Okay. Suppose if I am passing 10, 35, 40, 56, 75, what will be the output?
Till 45.
It will print only 45, but not it is adding all the elements, isn't it? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. How to add all the elements whichever I pass? What to do now? By looking
Use
at
for
the
loop.
yes. How to write down? Tell me. For loop for
int I
int I
equal to 0.
equal to 0. I less than
AR of
AR
Dot length
dot length
AR dot length
I plus
I
plus.
plus
I plus plus. And then now what you are supposed to do? Take some int sum equal to 0. Then after that,
Sum plus equals
sum plus equal to sum plus equal to
AR of I.
excellent, very good. So now it will add all the elements to sum after this.
sum print.
Yes. Shall I run the code? Compile. Run. Now you got the different value, isn't it? Yes or no? Okay. So this program, how many lines of the code is here? Hardly 3 lines of the code. If you write down these 3 lines of the code, you might be getting 40 marks. But you failed to do so. Most of you could not able to write down this code. Okay. Suppose I want to find out what is the product of first 2 numbers. What should I do now? Product of first 2 numbers. What should be the code logic? What should be the code logic? Product of first 2 numbers. I want to remove everything. Just tell me. Product of first 2 numbers from the command line arguments. How to write down?
First take the strings into and change them into integers.
some integer or float. So for example, float a equal to
float
dot
parse float
parse float
AR of 0
AR of 0, then
float B equals
float b equal to
float
dot
parse float AR of 1
parse float AR of 1, then
float product equals
instead of that directly you can print na system dot
out
out dot
A,
println
A into B.
A into
a into b. That's it. Shall I run this code? Java, how many line? Okay, 10 comma 3. What will be the output?
30.
30 point something, right? Got it? Any doubts, any question? How to handle the command line arguments in Java? Now, do you understand what is the requirement for us to have this string AR every time? What is the reason?
To give
What is it?
command line arguments.
Yes, to handle the command line argument. Suppose you are passing arguments from the command line and then you want to send that to the program, then using this string AR only you can pass it. Okay. Any doubts, any questions?
No, sir.
Is it easy or difficult? How many lines of the code? Hardly 3 lines of the code other than your program, right?